Haters will say, I don't want to go to Alabama. What's in Alabama? It's just farmlands and dumb hillbillies. They don't think we have thriving cities, good education, or even airports for that matter, and they couldn't be any more wrong. Before I get started, those of you who are new to our channel, I'm Jess, and my partner Tony and I, we make videos all about living in Lower Alabama so that we can give you all a really good idea of what it's like if you were gonna live here. If you like what you see, click that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new content. Now let's talk about what these haters are saying. Number one, Alabama hasn't changed since the civil rights era. This is a major stretch. Like everywhere else, Alabama is changing, though perhaps a little bit more slowly, and we like it that way, so don't get confused. Maybe we're closer to 10 years behind, but 50 or 60, that's a big reach. I honestly think people only say this because back in 2011, Alabama made a really ugly splash in the headlines with its toughest in the nation immigration laws. But up north in Birmingham, they recently declared themselves a sanctuary city, and anyone who says immigrants aren't welcome, well, that's just not true. The diversity in Lower Alabama is absolutely refreshing. People from all walks of life come here and call this place home. Now, don't get me wrong, Alabama isn't perfect. Nowhere really is, but we live here, our children go to school here, they participate in sports and tons of extracurricular activities, and our family, we're just overall a super active family and we involve ourselves in the community. We've never experienced anything negative or witnessed racism. Again, I'm not saying it doesn't happen because the world is full of mean people, unfortunately, but our firsthand experiences have been nothing less than welcoming. And that's the God honest truth. You get what you give at the end of the day, but mostly everyone you encounter here is accepting of you regardless of who you are, where you're from, what you look like. Now, your political status, that's a different story and we're not getting into that. And yes, you will hear the phrase, don't California my Alabama. You'll hear that a lot. But in all honesty, we know California is not all of Los Angeles, just like New York is not all New York City. People can say the same about Tony and I being from Chicago. Not all Illinois is Chicago. We sure weren't, and that's why we moved here a long time ago. The next thing haters say is culturally, Alabama doesn't offer anything of value. It has been said by some haters that it seems like the only thing coming from Alabama is corruption or negativity. The state of Alabama has produced a long list of great writers such as Harper Lee and Diane McWhorter, civil rights crusaders such as Fred Shuttlesworth and Rosa Parks, and too many artists to name. And clearly this hater hasn't been to Baldwin County. Take the Eastern Shore for example. You have the JUBILEE Festival of Art in DAPHNE where art, music, and local cuisine meet Southern charm. This annual festival is set along the oak lined streets down in Old Town DAPHNE. The JUBILEE Festival of Art features more than 130 local and regional artists. And we can't not mention the FAIRHOPE Arts and Crafts Festival, which takes place in our beautiful downtown FAIRHOPE. Now, this festival was recently named one of the top 15 art shows in the entire country by the prestigious Sunshine Artist magazine in their annual ranking of the nation's top festivals. Now, if you ask me, Alabama has proven to be quite amused, giving people plenty to write about. Now, how many states can say that? This place inspires and brings out creativity, and I'll go as far as to say that LA is the creative capital of the South. You can find art and inspiration around every single corner. You don't have to look very far. Next, haters will say Alabama is nothing but boring farmland and rednecks. What a big misconception. I'm offended. Alabama is not all farmland and cotton fields. Alabama might be known for its cotton fields and ample farmland, but there's more to the city's landscape. Nearly 65% of Alabama's land is actually covered in forests, and the northern area of the state is hilly and also mountainous. Let's not forget about our beaches in Lower Alabama. We have the most beautiful white sand and emerald waters of the Gulf of Mexico, so kindly fall back, haters. And rednecks, it seems as though the stereotypes of Southerners show us as ignorant hillbillies. I'll have you know most Alabamians are at least high school graduates. A large percentage of us are college grads. We have universities that attract students worldwide. Auburn University has a veterinarian school that's one of the top in the entire world. Their Raptor Hospital is also top in the country. And another amazing fact is how Huntsville has played a role in the U.S. space program since the 1950s. Not to mention the U.S. Space and Rocket Center, which is home to a 360 something foot Apollo era Saturn V rocket. So basically everyone in Alabama is a bona fide rocket scientist.
It's a bit of a stretch.
Oh, and the Huntsville Space Camp and Aviation Challenge are hugely popular programs that also attract students from all over the world. So you think Alabama is just a southern state full of slow rednecks? Well, you're way off, and that's just scratching the surface. Not everyone is ignorant. Not everyone is a bigot. Not everyone is poor. Not everyone is a religious lunatic. Not everyone owns a gun. We own a lot of guns. Not everyone drives a pickup. We drive a pickup, and so do all of our friends. Majority of us have our teeth. Majority of us. I can go on and on and on. Name a stereotype and odds are it might very well be wrong. Oh, not everyone is obsessed with football. Well, actually, wait, yes they are. That one's totally true. Basically everyone in Alabama pledges to War Eagle or Roll Tide. There are diehard football fans, there are obsessive football fans, and then there are Alabama football fans. If it comes between an emergency and a Crimson Tide versus Bulls game, you're more than likely on your own. You can either Roll Tide for the University of Alabama or War Eagle for Auburn University. You're gonna have to choose whether you like it or not, I'm sorry. And the general rule of thumb is that 3/4 of the state are sworn to the Crimson Tide, and most Auburn fans are largely students and alumni. Oh, and if you choose to Roll Tide, get some Crimson and Houndstooth. And if you go Auburn, grow some thick skin because opinions run deep on the loyalty to both teams and fights have been known to break out, but people keep the rivalry pretty friendly for the most part. There are so many myths and misconceptions. So much of what the nation thinks about Alabama revolves around the events that took place in the 1950s and the 1960s. So those days are long gone. Living in Alabama, you have rural areas, you have cities, you have mountains, you have beautiful beaches. Exactly where you live, where you work, or where you go to school, and who your circle of friends are determines what living in Alabama is like ultimately, as it determines what living anywhere else is like. Alabama is a thriving state, and we can assure you, here in Baldwin County, jobs are plentiful and the scenery is awesome. I hope that cleared some stuff up for y'all in this video, and don't forget to call us the #1 relocation team in all of Lower Alabama if you're ready to make a move to Baldwin County or Mobile County. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you all in the next video.